Hey guys, welcome back to Sacred Vedic Astrology. My name is Samantha and I am a professional Vedic sidereal astrologer. So today we're going to go into a planetary aspect in Vedic astrology that is one I understand very well, have it in my natal chart. I've seen many clients who have this aspect as well too, and I find it to be one of the more, I would say, popular aspects in Vedic astrology where I do see it quite often in charts. So I really want to unravel and make a video about the Venus-Moon aspect in Vedic astrology. All right. It's important to note that in Vedic astrology, we see the full-bodied aspects, so the aspects that are 100% in power when two planets are either conjunct in the same house or when they are opposite in opposing houses, right? So if you have Venus, Moon in the same sign, in the same house, you have a Venus-Moon conjunction. If you have Venus in the first house, Moon in the seventh, you have Venus-Moon aspecting each other through 100% power aspect. So it's still acting as if it is that conjunction, even though it's considered an opposition, like in Western astrology. In Vedic astrology, we see conjunctions and oppositions as still creating aspects to each other, so it's very much the same energy, all right? So planets sitting together or opposing each other is giving that 100% power aspect in Vedic astrology. All right, now this is a very interesting conjunction that is going to give a lot of this love and this desire for comforts and luxury and feeling good, all right? People with the Venus-Moon aspect want to feel good. They want to feel good all the time, right? And that can be the issue that comes in with Venus aspecting the Moon. So let us start with the meanings of Venus and meanings of the Moon. Venus is the karaka, or the indication of the arts, all things creative, all things luxurious, all things beautiful, all things aesthetically pleasing. It's also love and it's romance, and Venus is also the karaka for money as well too. All right, it's a very creative, luxurious, beautiful energy with Venus. It's also very feminine, all right? And then we take the Moon, and the Moon is our emotions, it's our feelings, it's our subconscious, it's our mind, right? Moon is also women and feminine energy. So you'll find with Venus Moon aspects, especially if like Venus is exalted or Moon is exalted or one of the planets are in their exaltation or well placed or like a Mula Trikona, things of that nature, someone has a lot of really positive energy around women. So they either really just like vibe with women in this lifetime, they attract women very naturally. You'll find a lot of the like sex gods, sex symbols of our times. A lot of those men will have like really positive Venus Moon energy because they're so attractive to women, right? A great example is when we did the chart analysis on Jim Morrison, who has a strong moon, Digbala, directional strength onto his Venus in its own sign of Libra. See how it really depends, like how well placed the planets are as well too. And women loved him. They loved him. They could not get enough of him, right? That's Venus, one karaka for women. The Moon, another karaka for women, aspecting each other. There's benefic influence around feminine energy around women as well in this lifetime. So they can really draw women in. They can be friends with a lot of women. That's that Venus Moon energy, two indications of female and feminine energy aspecting each other, all right? Now, Venus is a benefic and the Moon is a benefic. So Venus-Moon aspect is bringing a lot of benefic influence into those houses as well too. Unless they're like badly afflicted by other planets, a lot of that Venus-Moon energy will bring good energy to those houses as well too, because it is a benefic influence. All right. Now, here's the issue at times in astrology when we get so much benefic, feel-good energy coming together is these people want to feel good all the time, all right? They want to always feel good. They don't ever want to feel bad, right? And I have the Venus opposite my Moon, so I was very much like that when I was younger. I always wanted to feel good. I always wanted to do things to feel good. I would always be like, I just want to feel better. I want to always feel good. Like, I should be able to feel good all the time. That's what I thought with Venus on my Moon. And so that Venus energy is pleasure and it's luxury, and then the moon is our mind and our feelings, right? So a lot of times Venus moon people will overindulge. They'll overindulge in substances, overindulge in sex, overindulge in spending money, overindulge in things because they just want to feel good all the time. All right? And the issue with that is that we live in a world where we can't feel good all the time. Right? And where a lot of the lessons actually come from not feeling good. A lot of those lessons and that integration of growth and what we have to really learn in this lifetime to become like a higher version of ourselves is how we can feel good without feeling good, right? Where we can still be okay when we aren't feeling good, when everything isn't going well, when we don't feel amazing, when we don't have all the luxury, when we don't have all the pleasures, right? So for those with that Venus moon aspect, there is a sense of having to learn that we cannot feel good all the time. And that we have to sit in those energies in those time periods where things don't feel good and not look for some sort of outlet or some sort of escape. Right? Because Venus is on the moon and there is a sense of wanting to indulge, there can be a lot of that overindulgence into sweets, into luxuries, into substances, sexual endeavors, nice clothes. All of that energy can become too much, too extreme, because there is a sense of wanting to overdo it with Venus on the moon. All right, so a lot of times if someone has a Venus moon aspect and they discover like alcohol too young, they discover sex too young, they get money at a very young age, they can really overdo those things and really overindulge because it's like, whoa, this feels good. I want to feel this way all the time. That's Venus on the moon. Like, I didn't know I could feel this good. That's a lot of that Venus moon energy. And it can also cause laziness as well, too, because Venus on the moon, again, it's like we're feeling good. We want to feel pleasureful. We want to feel good all the time. So there can be this lazy aspect about it where it's like, I just want things to come to me. I want things to be easy. I just want things to flow. We can find that a lot with Venus on the moon as well, too, where there are time periods of maybe these people not pushing themselves hard enough because they just want to feel good. They just want things to be easy. They want things to come to them, is a lot of that Venus moon energy. All right. I almost see it as this energy, and this is kind of funny, but this is like the visual image I'm getting in my mind is like a sort of like goddess back in the day, just kind of lounging around. I just want this to come to me. That's a lot of that Venus moon energy, just kind of like expecting things to come in without all of the hard work can be the issue at times with Venus on the moon. All right. Now, Venus moon aspects give a lot of creativity because Venus is that karaka or that indication of the arts, all things creative. The moon is our mind, our subconscious, so it can really always come up with really creative ideas. Venus moon aspects are seen in a lot of charts of very successful artists, those who are really great with all of the artistic endeavors because Venus is that karaka or that indication, right? And then here's another interesting thing as well, too. The moon is the masses. The moon is the public. So they can bring their creativity, their creative ideas into the masses, into the public, and they can be seen for their creativity, for their beauty, for their pleasure, for their aesthetics with Venus on the moon as well, too. All right. There is a pretty long list of celebrities who have had Venus moon aspects in their charts, and they have been very creative, very beautiful. It gives a lot of beauty as well with Venus on the moon, where they can have a great interest in beauty, and they want to look good, and they want to smell good, and they want to feel good with that Venus aspect onto the moon. All right. Venus moon is also very interesting because the person can at times get overly attached to like looks and be a little bit more vain in that way as well too, because Venus is that energy of beauty. Moon is what we kind of think about. So there can be a lot of obsessions around like beauty. I want to look better. I want to feel better. I want the person I'm with to look better. I want them to, it's a lot of that Venus energy with the mind and the thoughts as well too. This is a beautiful energy for like creative writing, songwriters, lyricism, poetry, especially if it's aspected like the second house. Second house, Venus will give a lot of poetic ability on its own. So if someone just has Venus in the second by itself, someone can definitely be a poet. I have Venus in my second house, and I've always written poetry and songs my whole entire life. And it's giving that creative ability into the second house, which is writing, which is expression. So a lot of poetic talent can come with Venus in the second as well too, a lot of creative writing energy. So let's say someone has Venus with the moon in the second house, amazing for the creative artistic endeavors in this lifetime. All right. And the person with Venus over the moon just has to learn to channel that energy of, oh, I want to feel good. I want things to look good. I want things to, be very Venusian, and channel it more into their artistic endeavors as opposed to their overindulgent endeavors. Right. Again, we did that chart analysis of Jim Morrison, and he was so creative, such an amazing, poet and lyricist, and just really an amazing artist. He had amazing aesthetics. He was beautiful. That's Venus on the moon. But also he was constantly overindulging in sex, drugs, alcohol, right? He was overdoing it with that Venus aspect onto the moon. Best believe it. So it can be this energy of, wow, like I feel so good all the time. I look so good all the time. And then the person gets overly attached or overly obsessed with feeling good and looking good, so they take it to extremes, right? That's the Venus moon energy. All right. This is an aspect as well that can create, good benefic influence on the mother, on the women in someone's life. I have Venus on my moon, and I've always had such amazing connections with women my whole entire life. Just such good, friendships, such good connections to the women in my life. I've always had a really, really great influence around women because I have Venus on that moon, right? Two benefics that connect to feminine energy aspecting each other, all right? So it can also bring just this really strong bond to women in this lifetime. And there's just this benefic energy there, right? So if it's a male's chart, that's a blessing for them, right? They're going to have this energy of women are drawn to them. Women are comfortable around them. Women like their energy because it's two benefics that are karakas or indications of feminine or female energy aspecting each other. All right. But again, they can overdo it. So many men with Venus moon aspects in their charts are, overly into women, womenizers, things like that can come about if they aren't careful of overindulging in that Venus moon energy. All right. So if you do have Venus aspect onto your moon, watch out for overindulgence, watch out for laziness, watch out for wanting to feel so good all the time. Trust me, I have this. I feel that way. I'm we should feel good all the time. And when I was younger, I absolutely was overindulging in so many things. And then as I grew older, I was that's not it, right? Channeling that Venus moon into creativity, into beauty, into the arts, into aesthetics, making your home beautiful, wearing beautiful things. That's more so how to work with that Venus moon energy. Don't be overdoing it with the drugs and the sex and the money and the finances, right? That's that Venus moon energy, a lot of overindulgence. But it is a really beautiful creative aspect that I love to see in charts. I love to see it. A lot of famous artists have had that Venus moon energy. All right. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this understanding of the Venus moon aspect in Vedic astrology. I have it, I know it very well, and it's just one of those energies astrologically that you learn to work with better as you get older, which is everything in life. I feel when we're younger, we usually have the lower, undeveloped energies of planetary aspects, if that makes sense, right? So it's Venus moon when you're younger can be you're overeating, you're over drinking, you're over indulging in different things. And then as you get older, you realize that's not how to channel that. Let me channel it into the arts. Let me channel it into creativity. Let me channel it into beautifying my life or beautifying the world around me in a way that is more positive, right? And also learning it's so important with Venus on the moon that you can't feel good all the time. And if you try to force yourself to feel good all the time, the opposite's going to happen and you're going to actually feel worse in the long run, okay? So learning to just face the things you have to face from a more pragmatic lens is also very important with Venus on the moon. Not being like, oh, I feel bad in this moment, I need to eat this. I feel bad in this moment, I need to drink this. I feel bad in this moment, I need to have sex, right? That's like that Venus moon influence. It's a lot of overindulgence as well too. All right, let me know if you guys have Venus on your moon. It's a very luxurious aesthetic aspect that I see a lot in clients' charts. And I do find, like, I would say 80 to 90% of the times when I get clients with Venus on the moon, they do tell me there's a little bit of this laziness in them where they're like, I don't really want to work. I don't really want to do all the difficult things, right? That's a lot of that Venus moon energy. But if we have like other aspects, like a lot of Saturn or other things coming in, it can counteract that. But if it's too much Venus, if it's too much benefic influence in a chart, and this is intuitive, but you'll actually find if someone has too much benefic energy in their charts, they get lazy and they get overly comfortable in life because they don't have that push from more malefic influence. If they don't get Saturn energy in their chart, they get lazy, comfortable, overindulgent. So it's actually important in astrology to have some malefic influence that's like pushing someone into wanting to get better, wanting to grow, wanting to improve. So that's actually an interesting sort of counterintuitive aspect of astrology. So you actually don't want too much benefic energy because then people get lazy and complacent. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis and we will talk soon. Sending all the love. Bye guys.